Some cynic remark that if you cry out like that, even the Lord of mercy, the Father in heaven, will come down from his throne to answer your call. You cry like that, bring him down from his throne. He must come to your aid. And God accepted his prayers. He says, who in the days of his flesh, means while he was here with us, he had offered up praise and supplications with strong crying and tears unto him that was able to save him from death, and was heard in that he feared. He was heard, means God heard his prayers. What does it mean, God heard? Does it mean God is deaf at any time? He's all-hearing God. He hears everything. He hears the whispers. Our secret thoughts he hears. What does it mean, God heard? It means God accepted. Zechariah in his old age, he prayed for a son, and God heard his prayers, and John the Baptist, Yahya alayhi salam, was born. Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam in his old age prayed for a son, and Allah heard his prayers, and Ishmael was born. Ismail. You know what is Ismael? Means God heard. Literally it means in Hebrew, God heard. What? The prayer of Abraham materialized. Ishmael in Hebrew means God heard the prayer of Abraham. So, God Almighty answers his prayer. And there appeared an angel unto him from heaven, strengthening him. Luke chapter 22, verse 43. The angel came and strengthened him in the hope, the assurance that God Almighty will come to his rescue. But strange as it may sound, the turmoil that Jesus Christ is going through, the preparation he had made, 8 at the gate, in a line of defense, when he offers heart pourings to God, and when he returns, the guys are going to sleep. His disciples are going to sleep. Can you imagine? The people who are prepared to give their life for him, go to prison for him, they're gone to sleep. So Jesus says, what? Could you not watch with me for 1 hour? 1 hour? Matthew chapter 26, verse 40. You can't wait with me, watch with me for 1 hour? I put you on guard. You know, if they were in the South African army, they would have been court-martialed, shot, whole lot of them. Your master's life is in danger. The man is crying, sweating blood, and you go to sleep. And he goes and prays again, and he returns. They're going to sleep again and again. They want to know. Jesus says, now our friend Mark tells us, 1440, Mark says, they couldn't explain. The disciples couldn't explain why they were behaving like that. Neither knew they what to answer him. They didn't know what to answer him. What's wrong with you people? What is happening to you? My life is in danger. And you're going to sleep again and again. So Mark says, neither knew they what to answer him. What could they answer? What excuse could they give? And Luke 22:45 says, and when Jesus rose from prayer and was come to his disciples. Now Luke is a physician, a doctor, medical man of his time. Luke, he was not one of the 12. But he is now giving an excuse. What was happening? As a physician, we must listen to him. He says, and when Jesus rose from prayer and was come to his disciples, and he found them sleeping for sorrow. For sorrow. That's a queer explanation. By God, I tell you, you ask any medical man. Anybody knows anything about medicine, anything about physiology, about human body, you go and ask him, can you sleep for sorrow? Anybody, can you sleep for sorrow? When your father is dying, somebody says, I'm coming to burn your house, burn your father and mother down, and you sleep for sorrow. Can you sleep for sorrow? Nature, Allah Bari Ta'ala, the Creator, has given to us, every human being, that internal self-injecting hormone, adrenal, the adrenal gland. It secretes into the body a hormone. You can't sleep. Under trial, tribulation, turmoil, you can't sleep. Ask any lady, any woman. Her child is sick and she goes to sleep in sorrow. Her husband is dying and she sleeps in sorrow. Or the man can sleep in sorrow when his wife is dying. You sleep for sorrow. When the life of your hero, your master, is in danger, you sleep for sorrow. No, no. Poor Luke, he didn't know anything about medicine, what we know today. Had he known, he wouldn't have put that thing in. You see, the disciples of Jesus, that they had everything on the house. You know, it means everything free. In that upper room, free food and free wine. When you eat too much and you drink too much, this is what happens. There is no other reason. You can't sleep for sorrow. You can't sleep for fear. The only time you can go to sleep when you are at your post in the army. If you have been eating too much and drinking too much, never mind what is happening around you. The bombs are falling, you can still go off. This is what had happened. They go to sleep. So when the Jews came with the Roman soldiers, they found them napping. Qadab, napping, sleeping. Literally. The Englishmen say with the pants down. They were caught with the pants down. The disciples, they were snoring away, and these guys with the Roman soldiers, they just tumbled over them, and they go into the garden and they want to apprehend Jesus. So in the inner line of defense, Christ was very close to them, crying, wailing, talking to God, so they couldn't sleep. So one of them said, Master, Master, shall we smite them with the sword? So they had sword. We is more than one. They had swords. Where did they get them from? Jesus told them, you remember? Arm yourself. They were armed. What for? To defend themselves against the Jews. But the Jews were cleverer than what he thought. Look, after all, he's a human being. وَمَكَرُوا وَمَكَرَ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ. And they planned and you planned, but the best of planners is God. Jesus planned and the Jews planned. In this case, the Jews' plan was better than his. They came with Roman soldiers. And untrained disciples, no man, what spirit you have. You know, overeaten, drunk, and now comes along, you know, the Roman soldiers, trained men, and you're going to start putting up a fight? Peter did. He slashed the ear of one of the guards, and Jesus said, put down your sword. Now he said, put again the sword into its place, for all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword. Matthew chapter 26, verse 52. Didn't he know that before? That who take up the sword shall perish by the sword. Didn't he know? Why did he tell them to arm? Why the change now? It's natural, natural. Once you get caught out, the good general, he throws in the towel. The British, in Singapore against the Japanese, 85,000 British, they threw down the sword, the guns. 85,000. The biggest surrender in the history of the British Empire. 85,000, they surrendered to the Japanese. 85,000. Can you imagine 85,000 soldiers with all the arms and ammunition, they surrender like women? No, no. Don't call them so. The wearer knows where the shoe pinches. The general knows. Better luck next time. Put down the sword. 250,000 British, they fled from Dunkirk. You remember? 250,000. Can you imagine 250,000? We can't. You have to see them. 250,000. Are they all women? No, no, no. Better luck next time. 30,000 Egyptians in 1973, they were surrounded by the Jews. Look, this happens. Again, at Tobruk, 100,000 Allied soldiers had to flee for their life. This man is a great thinker. He can see that now he's cornered. And if his disciples put up any resistance, each and every one would be wiped out. So he says, now look, put down your sword, because now he who lives by the sword shall die by the sword. As the situation changes, he was telling them to turn the other cheek. He was telling them, forgive 70 times 7. Then he says, now arm yourself. And you find that it didn't work. He said, now put down your sword. This is sensible man, sensible general, sensible officer doing the job. The Jews capture him and they take him before the Sanhedrin, the learned men of the Jews. And they bring false witnesses against him, one after another, and they can't tally in their evidence. Why? Because it's all false. They're making false charges against this messenger of God. And that fast, it's a fast. It's not a trial, it's a fast. It's a joke.